here's a basic problem. Where should you go eat in Amsterdam? Especially if you're not from Amsterdam. So let's go with what works. This guy, Johannes van Dam, is really big in Amsterdam. He's the top food reviewer, restaurant reviewer. And he's got his own unique style, as you can see. And these guys publish his weekly column every Saturday. So they have the content from him. And they have the technical system. So, hello iPhone app. Let's do an iPhone app. So, with Het Parool, the newspaper, I built Smakelijk Amsterdam, which will be available soon on the store for $2.99. And it was my first iPhone app, and it was also their first iPhone app. The app has been approved by Apple. The contract is still pending. So that's another thing we can talk about. There's a talk later today, yours is giving, about being rejected by Apple. So if you want to know more about being rejected by Apple, go to yours this talk. So we started with one basic goal for our application. We want to put his reviews on a map of Amsterdam to show the restaurants he's been reviewing recently. And his condition is that we can only have the 30 most recent. So he does one a week, that's 30 weeks, a little bit over half a year. So on one hand, I'm someone I want as much data as possible. He's been doing, reviews of restaurants for years. It's kind of unfortunate. It isn't the same breadth that you have in a user-generated service like Yelp. But on the other hand, it's what's latest. At some point restaurants close, they go out of business, new chef. So maybe 30 is okay. It's what's still valid, what's interesting. So we want a map. And that actually dictated how we did our application a lot. Because there are pre-OS 3.0, which is in beta 3 as of today. It's not even out yet for your normal phone. So the existing versions of the iPhone, there are basically two ways to get a Google map that you can use on your phone. And both of them are through a web page. Because that's the only way that Google would let you include their map. And we wanted to use Google Maps because it's the best well known, it's the easiest to use. Het Parool was already using a Google map with the restaurant reviews on their own website. So let's go with what we already know. So there are two ways to put a Google map on. In both cases, you're using something called a UI web view, which is a different display technology for the iPhone for more technical people, and the most technical people already know it. But there are two ways. There's one which is this project iPhone Map View, and there's a URL where you just drop it into your code, and all of a sudden you have an iPhone map that you can interact with using your native Objective-C iPhone code. That's great. The problem is it's kind of a hack, passing data between the web page where the map actually resides in your application and the rest of your code. The other alternative is to load a UI web view, because you have to do it anyway for the map, and do your entire app in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, just like your map. So if you have to go halfway, why not go all the way? So let's take the easy way out. I didn't really know any Objective-C, just a little, but HTML, CSS, JavaScript, I can do that. And I discovered there's a project called PhoneGap, which will make my job even easier, because I just load it up in the development program, Xcode, with PhoneGap, and then I just give it the URL of the web page I want to load, and I hit compile, and I have an application loaded a web page, and that's all it does. But that's actually not all it does. Speaking too quickly. It also passes some interesting information to the web page about the actual device. Because the problem normally with a web page is it's a web page. All you know is that you have a web page. You can come in, by the way. No. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please come in. But to make a good application, especially someone with a map, all of a sudden we're talking about physical locations. The map we want to know where the user is, and we can with iPhone. There's a GPS in the second edition, even the first generation, just positioning based on your cell phone tower. So it would be really nice to know where the user is. But again, that's something that isn't normally in JavaScript, isn't in the normal tools you build a web page with. But PhoneGap actually squirts in your latitude and longitude and your accelerometer data and some other interesting hardware information into your JavaScript environment. Perfect. So you can actually fake a native iPhone app pretty well. This is what we built. So this is Smakelijk Amsterdam. You see the most recent restaurant reviews. There is my current location according to the GPS. Pretty accurate. I was at my office. Here you can see the restaurants. Nice list. You can scroll. This bar stays at the bottom. This bar stays at the top. You click on Mother India here, and you get a review here. Again, you can scroll. Click for details. You get the phone number. You can call the actual number using your iPhone. You can send an email using the normal iPhone application. So that was pretty good. We made an actual application for the iPhone, and all our coding was in HTML and CSS. But, okay, it's not that easy. It's tricky. That bottom bar that you saw back there, it's pretty darn hard in your HTML and your CSS to keep it there when you scroll. You scroll, it wants to come up with you. So you have to have these settings to reposition it, essentially.